we're being joined live by Glenn Diesen, who is a professor of international relations at the University of South-Eastern Norway. Glenn Diesen, thank you very much indeed for talking to us this evening. What do you make of the statement by the Belarusian President Lukashenko? Does it indicate that the deal is off, that had made sure that Prigozhin was out of Russia? It kind of seems like a mixed signal there.
Yes, it's definitely a mixed signal, and that's part of the lack of clarity around this. So again, I've been looking for confirmations in terms of exactly where it is, which doesn't appear to exist. But it is correct. President Lukashenko of Belarus argued that he had left Belarus for Russia. It's a special. It's very unique for Russia to have such a deal, but it's a very unique situation as well, having such a large mercenary group, which have also been recognized for having great fighters and have had several achievements, which have made them win over a lot of sympathy for many Russians. So the deal was seen as a good way of solving this issue instead of having Russian soldiers killing other Russian soldiers. However, whether or not the deal allows for Prigozhin to travel to Russia, whether or not he has permission for it, we actually went there. It's all very unclear at this moment.
Mm-hmm. But Glenn Diesen, in your perspective, if we contrast this to other like Alex Navalny, the treatment that he's been in and out of jails in Russia, to what we are seeing with Prigozhin, what's the difference here? Is Putin finally afraid that if he puts Prigozhin behind bars, there could be a larger mutiny in Russia? And the fact that state television in Russia is now showing, visuals of opulence of the Wagner chief?
Well, this is a problem of a mercenary group. I think Navalny would be a wrong example because he doesn't really have much support or legitimacy in the same sense as Prigozhin had. The problem with any mercenary groups is, well, the advantage obviously is that they can act outside government. It can do things which the government probably wouldn't want to get its hands dirty with. It can attract a special kind of people. The weakness of a mercenary group is exactly the same. It attracts a different kind of person and also acts a bit outside outside government control. Now the problem is it doesn't then abide by the same strict command structures which you would find in the military. So you've effectively set up a somewhat autonomous group. And this was fine when they worked in smaller scale in Africa, but now that they're across the border in Ukraine, they've taken on such a huge task. It immediately creates two centers of power in Russia, which is dangerous. And this is kind of what they had to respond to. Even their recruitment videos, when they want to recruit soldiers, they kind of making themselves look like the real fighting force and almost mocking the Russian army for having withdrawn at times while they only move forward. So it's once they put themselves a little bit as a rival to the Russian army, and Prigozhin began to scold the military leadership.
Right.
This became a conflict which had to be resolved.
Mm-hmm. What do you make of, Lukashenko had a press conference today. He was asked several questions. He was also asked about the Wagner chief being killed. He certainly played that down. There were some comments from him. What do you think is the future here for Prigozhin, and what can we make of the statements from Lukashenko's press conference today?
Well, I think the problem is actually Prigozhin, because again, his objective was merely to seek more autonomy for Wagner and wanted there were changes in the military command in Russia. But obviously, he took this way too far, becoming a traitor on this path. But they still have excellent fighters, so they still want them to be used. And again, they're quite important for Belarus as well, as they're also facing threats from Poland and NATO, and also they're having quite a bad relationship with Ukraine as well. So the Wagners are welcome in Belarus. The key problem is Prigozhin, as he seems to be not just flamboyant and very aggressive, but very unpredictable as well. So it's very difficult to say how they're going to address the problem of Prigozhin.
Right. It's anybody's guess at the moment. Glenn Diesen, appreciate you talking to us this evening. Thanks very much indeed.
A pleasure.